All right. Peace, peace, and blessings, Safo. Honorable one, the success scholar. Hakish Kumi. Hit this light, bright light. All right, that's good. That's good. So I'm just sitting here and just evaluating what's going on. Of course, I had a full day to gather intel from several different sources, uh, as I was reflecting and thinking tactfully, and I see different things happening within our community. Uh, I believe sincerely that it would be wise for individuals to listen to wise counsel. Now, I know this may come across a little, I'm not going to say inconsiderate, but I know how people feel about the levels of low intensity warfare and how, the lack of power and our black people's inabilities to have a definitive community that is crime and drug and self-destructive free is an issue, and our lack of power, for instance, and lack of ownership uh, drive people to uh, lack of ownership, poverty, various levels of substance abuses have caused people to have different levels of, rather psychotic pathological behavior, dysfunctional, as well as uh, self-destructive and degenerate behavior. Uh, so I wanted to address something because I think many well-meaning people may be uh, under some unreasonable speculations about this recent, uh, you know, elevation of the neo-Nazi white nationalist uh, European supremacy movement. Uh, so I feel the need to address it, tactfully, because again, well, actually, I was on a radio show yesterday, and I was on there with two sisters, and they were more so like, "What we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do?" And I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it until I was on the show yesterday, last night, and now I'm realizing that people that, as the sister, as I heard the sister, she had a heightened sense of concern. So I know that people are in fact concerned, but I'm just looking at the threat assessment levels, and I'm realizing that you know, I mean, and we can see if we're paying attention, we can see, for instance, that there's not going to be particular neo-Nazis marching through. I mean, of course, they have the legal right, to, in this society, to march through an urban environment and just shoot up and pick off black people, or are they gonna be running up into tens of thousands of millions of black households? I mean, I just don't foresee any reasonable scenario where particularly those white supremacists, such as the few that were in Charlottesville, will be in a position, an ideological position, to influence tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of other Caucasians to actually just say, oh, we just gonna march and go shoot black people all over. Yeah. Well, first I want to say what many of them do. Actually, the white supremacists, neo Nazis, they actually go about and join the um, the police departments and the security forces so that they can have legal grounds to cover up their particular deeds, right? So that's one aspect of how, because when we have mass media, people may not be able to get away with everything that people got away for, at one particular time. You have people out here, they're gonna put us back in slavery, and let me sell you a widget, let me teach you how to come to this lecture, and let me show you how to get down. So you have, this fear factor, coming in, this hysteria, this mass hysteria that actually can happen with, things like this, and people more so responding to violence. One particular unique violent episode versus, for instance, the tens of thousands of people that die in many other types of manners that, under this global system that many people may not necessarily understand how the disparities between the wealth and the rich and the poor causes more deaths within the society than 10,000 handguns. Uh, so let me just mention this post, but I did a radio show last night that made me think more clearly and think about, should I address this? Because again, fortunately, I mean, I've been given certain depths of experience and knowledge that other people simply do not have. They just haven't gone through any orientation or any type of training or network with conscious and aware individuals to be in a position to speak intellectually on this topic. So what I say, comes from tremendous research and experience, as well as I actually did go through various types of trainings, outdoor survival training. So I'm not speaking from a speculative novice type of experience where as some people, they never even talked about growing food, or they never been on a outdoor survival type of environment or place. They may not even have any military experience, or they just totally not connected to that level where they can speak intellectually on these issues. So, you know, especially about growing food now. I'm happy some people know and talking about growing food now, and I'm happy that some people are now know what an eggplant is. So that's a good thing. That's a good start. But I did a post, and I'm happy that my sister Aminette shared it, and I said, "Do anyone here or have family members that live in an area where there is drug dealing and gun violence?" Right? I didn't want people to feel like they need to tell that they live in a hood. So your family members live in a drug dealing or gun violence area. I see people now offering survival classes and training, right? Yeah, I mean, and rightfully so. But I don't want people to feel that, oh my God, what's what are they doing? What are they doing? They're coming. They're coming. They're going to come into our hoods like immediately. They're coming right now. Oh, you know. So I see people now offering survival classes and trainings. I've taken several trainings before, though I won't let people use fear sales tactics. Salespeople always use tactics like that. They wait for particular heightened levels of threats, or like, oh, you better get this water pump right now, or you better give this to your car, or you could have an accident, or your roof, you better get a new roof, because if it rained one time, boy, your whole house could flood. So we have these things happening right now. What I say? So I have taken several trainings before. I won't let people use fear sales tactics like the Nazis are coming. The Nazis are coming. When people are dying daily by imported weapons into urban environments for self-destruction. Now, listen to that. Listen to that. Oh shoot. Listen to that. I mean, I don't know, for instance, how many persons have died in A, B, or C urban environments, Chicago, Baltimore, or somewhere else. And this is certainly not to make a compare and contrast to the, as if suggesting that there shouldn't be a level of concern, right? But I'm really, reflecting in terms of the threat assessment level, in terms of, are we gonna, some people out here, they will have you out patrolling for hours and days, looking for a neo-Nazi, right? Looking for a white supremacist that's going to be marching down your street any minute now, and past, blow the horn, be on our drums, get out here and patrol your neighborhoods. They're coming. They're coming. So let's look at it, and this is where cooler heads and more balanced, mature leaders, and conscious, balanced, those that have a good pulse of what's going on. Not and we can listen, we can see who's doing what. We can pay attention, we can gather intel from various forces. And what's real, yes, the president may in fact be a little weak in this area. He doesn't know where what his position is, or but others have stated clearly, you know uh, in various parties, what how they stand, for instance, on the neo-Nazi, white supremacist, white nationalist movement. So it's not as clear cut as some people want to make it out to the ignorant people, and they just want to label everybody. Oh, that person's racist. This person's racist. It's like everybody's a racist, and and to the neo Nazis, they would consider some of the Republicans, as being to the left and too weak, and not control who they call the Zionists. They control. They would say that the Jewish people control, these Caucasian American, European American uh, candidates and elected officials. So, and I do mention coming in when people are dying daily by imported weapons into urban environments for self-destruction. Yeah, yeah. These guns and weapons are imported. They're not manufactured within an urban environment. They're imported. And what's happened? Young African Americans are using these weapons, right, against persons in our in that look like you and I, persons that have darker skin melanin. If you want to do a class of training to get the fearful blacks, because black people are afraid right now, how about getting young folk to learn how to shoot, when and who to shoot, and not those in the black community? Because again, if you really are trying to preserve life, if you really are trying to preserve life, not just make a dollar, not just capitalize off of, ignorant black people that want to do a class and feel like they being tough. We're gonna stand up to the neo Nazis. Uh, how about first and foremost giving, teaching these young people like I, you know, I don't know if people need to be directly, immediately afraid. And this goes into my next point. Okay, so if you want to do a class or a training to get fearful blacks, how about getting young folk to learn how to shoot, when to shoot, and who to shoot, and not those in the black community, right? Sorry, depending upon where one live, the neo-Nazis may not be the first concern or fear. That's just real. That's just real. However we want to lay it out, like, I mean, I'm not speaking from myself, but what's real is that we have imported drugs, various types, and only people that don't have any street awareness do not see the mentality or are aware of some of the mentality that people under these, drugs and alcohol and mollies and PCP and perks and bukes and K2, methadone, heroin, cocaine, mixture. What's the other one? Uh, uh, what's the one they put in them out? Acid, PCP, meth, uh, whatever else crazy drugs that people are doing. So yeah, you never these are you can try to pretend that people are clean. We gonna do this and I can be. You ain't gonna do nothing. When people are on these various types of substances. Let's just be clear. Like, people gotta want to clean themselves up, and I don't. I mean, there's no magic formula, and I spoke to several drug counselors, you know, and talked about different things, and you know, uh, but no one has a magic bullet, and all it takes is one fool under some influence with a gun to act a fool. Watch, do what he saw or heard on a rap video or heard playing on some black radio station. Talking about kill, 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 killer in, killer in, killer in. Right? That's the music that some of them listen to. They, it's really really sad. And when you see like some professionals, like, dude, like, why are you listening to some killer this? I'm a baller. I got this many cars. I got this much. Dude, you work a job every day. Like, stop playing. Stop listening to silly music that's not real into your life. You 37, 38, 40 years old, and you listening to petty gangster music, huh? So, I don't understand that. All right. So sorry, depending upon where one lived, the neo-Nazis may not be the first concern or fear. Now I ask this question, are people fearful in certain areas? And, and unless of course, you undercover or you live somewhere, and I'm sure, but some areas, some communities, some hoods, they have some real crime, killer, murder, death, kill issues going on, right? So that's real. How about having intel on real immediate threats, not someone 100 or 200 miles away, right? Like really, if you got something, you got some intel reports saying that the neo-Nazis are coming in, you know. Yes, I keep. Gotcha. Tomato. Yes. Gotcha. All right. Yeah. Copy. Copy. All right. How about having intel on real immediate threats, not someone 100 or 200 miles away? Again, when you see or know a mass rally, you don't have to worry about too many mass rallies in a black community. I mean, it could happen. It could happen, but you deal with that. They're not just gonna, that takes time and organization. And with today's intel and certain, certain elected officials and things like that, it's going to be on the radar. So ain't nobody invading like how they did in Charlestown. They come in under the cover of law, right? And yes, there may be secret undercover type of little vigilante groups out here that's targeting, like how they use the Turner Diaries, targeting different individuals. And of course, I mean, but I mean, to make everybody think that they're going to be out here like the Wild Wild West, and they ready to pull their weapon out at any minute. I mean, that's not a reasonable level of priority in terms of what's big in terms of um, what's the big picture. But what you can do, and I just got my fresh signed autograph copy here of Gentrified. Yeah, you can in fact go and get yourself a copy of that, or holler at the Success Club and get a copy of Gentrified film, the film, and get an understanding of what's going on in your community, right? And what's going on a global level, so that you know what you're going to do economically and how you're going to really teach, our own community first and foremost to practice self-defense. Because right now, I mean, most people are afraid for their own children, right? And we don't have the capital, for instance, to even think about buying this type of weapon and this kind of training, that kind of training, and to spend this money, go here to train for weeks at a time. And I mean, hopefully people can do some basic awareness type of things. The Preparedness Now book, and I posted that. But to think that, and yes, there's several books, The Coming Race War in America. Carl Rowan, he wrote that book some years ago. There's another book I read some, I mean, it's coming back. It's coming back, but that's, some things that was hypothetical. I can't remember the name of the book. It's a white book. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. But yeah. So there are definitely various levels of speculation about the race wars, and you know, I mean, I just don't know if cooler heads won't prevail. You know, it's always a level of, shall I say, engagement and non-engagement, shall I say. And so you have to ask yourself a question like, I mean, are you, you know, I just didn't want any people to be all hyped up and, oh, oh my God, oh my God, like they're gonna come for us. You know, like the sister I was on the radio show with last night. I mean, I don't know who her guest was, but some people see what's happening in the media. And if you glued to the media, you know, all the time, you're gonna blow this up. You know, you're gonna blow this up like, oh my God, as if they haven't been out here doing things. Timothy McVeigh, you know, I mean, he bombed a whole damn federal building, you know, and that didn't get people riled up against the neo-Nazi movement. And hell, out of anything, blowing up a damn building, that should have been, you know, like enough to make people realize that damn, these people, they mean business. You know, they I mean, and to think about it, they didn't blow up the hood. You know, they didn't come and try to do an AK-47 in the hood down, a little white boy down in Charleston, South Carolina. He went to a black church, you know, and that's another target that, you know, they talk about in the, well, I'm not sure, I can't recall if the Turner Diaries actually talk about that. But the Turner Diaries is a book that many of the neo Nazis, you know, actually worship. They use it as their Bible. Correct me if I'm wrong, neo Nazis. You know, I mean, I don't know. Some people get offended if you call them a neo-Nazi. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I'm a white nationalist. We don't, you know. So some, I don't want to mislabel all of them. You know, and sometimes, you know, people are going to have these racial disagreements. You know, irreconcilable differences. You know, and this is where, for instance, you're going to have to keep building. You're going to have to keep building something for yourself. You're going to have to, you know, keep working, you know, keep your skill development up. You know, I mean, you're not going to be running around. Not everybody is a neo-Nazi. You know, not everybody think like that. I mean, it's different varieties because there's the different intellectual depth to that movement. So not everybody is going to have the same ideological orientation. Not everybody, not all of them agree with Hitler. Not all of them agree with Trump. So some folk think that they think that he's controlled. You know, there's different, you know, ebbs and flows again. So they're not robotic. They're not monolithic, right? So I just wanted to just add on to that, you know, to that discussion. So thank you all for tuning in. Holla at the Success Scholar. I'm out. Peace.